Joining us now is Tim Quirk. He's the co-CEO of Final Offer and co-founder of the same company. And joining us today to talk about his company and just the state of change in the real estate market right now. Tim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you as well. Thanks for having me back.
So I know there is the big case in St. Louis, and I want to get to that. But before we get there, could you just talk to us about what your company does, the space it occupies, and what problem it was trying to solve prior to that ruling?
Sure. Yeah. So Final Offer, for anyone that's ever bought or sold a home, that process has always been opaque and there hasn't been much transparency into it. And so as either sellers or buyers, as sellers, we've always questioned whether we're leaving money on the table when we sell our home.
Mm,
And as buyers, we always question, is there really another offer on the table? What am I competing
sure.
against? What do I need to do to make an offer that will be accepted? So that's the problem that we set out to solve by being able to provide a platform that's consumer facing, but brought to the consumers by the real estate agents themselves.
So, just practically speaking, here is this an auction style system that's got a digital interface behind it? What does this allow you to do that provides more transparency to the buyer and
Yeah,
seller?
so it's actually a first of its kind. So it's not an auction platform, it's a negotiation platform. And so when an agent goes to their seller and says they want to sell their home, they give them the option to use Final Offer.
Okay.
And what Final Offer does, this platform, it's an online website, finaloffer.com. You can go there, and sellers can either just use a list price the way that you typically do today, or they can also be more forthcoming with the industry about the actual price and terms that they will commit to accept. And we've got two other prices that they can use. We call it a seller committed price, which is, think of it as their bottom line. It's the price and the set of terms, whether or not a home inspection matters to them, if they need to stay in their home post close,
Mm.
any of those terms that sellers have never been able to disclose what they want for the largest asset that they're selling in their lifetime. They now have the opportunity to be forthcoming with the market about that, as well as how long they might want to give other buyers the opportunity to come in and counter and make a higher offer. So they're able to be upfront with the market about that. And if they really want to give buyers the opportunity to just go and buy it now, what we call the final offer, they can set a secondary price, which we call the final offer, which is the set of price and terms that you can just take the property off the market immediately. So it's giving buyers choice and options as to how they want to make an offer and to know what it takes to actually make an offer that the seller will commit to take. When it comes to auction style, there are some auction like rules that we put into the platform so that if a buyer does come along and make an offer that the seller says that they will take, but it's for that bottom line number, it'll just open up a period of time and alert anyone that's been watching the property that there is a real offer on the table, and they can see exactly what the price in terms of that offer is, so they know what it takes to make an offer that can win. But the sellers always have the option to be able to change in real time the terms of sale that they're looking to accept, whether they want to add a final offer price or remove it. There's a lot of strategy and leverage when it comes to using the platform that ultimately the sellers are able to counter and be forthcoming with the market in real time as things change on what they want for their home.
So, changing gears here for a minute, for those that are unfamiliar, there was a pretty groundbreaking lawsuit out of St. Louis that found the National Association of Realtors and I believe a couple other brokerage houses guilty of was it collusion or basically price fixing when it came to buyer's agent commissions, and we don't know exactly how that's all going to play out at this stage, but it's clearly shaken the industry quite a bit. What's your takeaway from this? How is it likely to change the industry and your platform in particular?
Yeah, so if you look at the way that real estate commissions have been paid, it's been the same for over 100 years. And so the challenge that we see is that this lawsuit is actually bringing to light just the bigger root cause, which is this lack of transparency in the market. So there's a lack of transparency in the way who's paying a commission and how it's being paid. But then also when it comes to the transaction itself, you know, what do you need to do to ultimately make an offer that'll get accepted? And so that challenge of what we see is that regardless of what happens, we don't have a horse in the race. We're a technology company to
Sure.
the real estate industry. That said, what we do see is that we already have real estate companies that are coming to us at a regional and national level that want to partner with Final Offer and bring this platform to market so that they can lead the charge of providing more transparency into the market with what consumers demand. And if you look at even the NAR, National Association of Realtors, and their CEO, the first statement that she came out and made is that the first thing you need to do as a licensed real estate agent and as a realtor is to be able to provide more transparency into how the transaction works, who's being paid what, and what the ultimate expectations are. So we see this as a solution to an overlying problem in the market where there's been a lack of transparency, where ultimately consumers have suffered because you just don't know if you're getting the best deal.
Tim, I bought my first home in 2011, and from that period of time, where my realtor at the time was sending me a couple listings or calling me about homes, compared to the technology today that is available, where I can browse regularly, and quite honestly, it's a hobby of mine to jump on Redfin or Zillow and just look at the available pieces of real estate. In spite of the, I would say, pretty massive technological shifts over the last few decades, you haven't really seen commissions or just prices of transaction coming down as you have in other industries. What do you make of that? And is that just temporary and hasn't been realized yet? Or where will we see this go next?
Yeah, I mean, where it'll go, I don't know. I think it's a nature of the culture of the U.S. and how the industry has been run. At the same time, you can start to see companies like Redfin coming into the space and others that have providing discounts into the industry, right? You can look at when it comes to this concept of buyer agency. This is a relatively new thing. It just started in the 1990s. Once information started to become more transparent in terms of what you just said, you can get access to real estate listings online. So how those agents are paid in the future, time will tell whether or not they're paid in the same light that they are today, or whether they're paid maybe on an hourly basis of the way that you pay an attorney. That'll be decided by the industry as well as consumer demand and pressure in terms of what happens in light of these lawsuits, but also what ultimately we as consumers demand when it comes to buying and selling a home.
It's Tim Quirk. He's the CEO of Final Offer, joining us today to talk about the platform and recent changes to the real estate industry and where it might develop going forward. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.
Great. Thank you.